Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the past chair of SAMCEDA and the CEO of DES Architects and Engineers, Steve Mincy.
Now, I know that when I walked up here, I saw a couple of you kind of check your glasses, and some of you thought, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong room because you were expecting Sherry Sager of the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital, our current chair of SAMCEDA. But unfortunately, we just learned this morning that she was unable to make it, and so I am filling in for her. So it is my pleasure, on behalf of the organization and my fellow SAMCEDA board members, to welcome you here to Innovators SAMCEDA, the 2016 Awards of Excellence. Now, before I get started, and just a few minutes ago when I checked with Roseanne, I said, okay, so what do I need to know if I'm going to, jump up here and fill in? And she said, just a couple words of advice. She says, in the spirit of the new adult-like Republican Party, that we're not going to mention anything about body parts today, and no comments on anyone's face. So, that's what we're going to abide by. Very PG-13. Throughout the whole meeting, so all the presenters and everything got to play by those rules, all right? So with that, I just wanted to let you know that we are really honored today. We are going to have Safra Katz, the CEO of Oracle, joining us, and to take full advantage of her schedule, as soon as she arrives, we are going to welcome her up on the stage, regardless of where we are in the program. So in getting started here, we have such a distinguished group of recipients, and especially we have the David D. Bohannon Memorial Award recipient, Wayne Bunker, with us this morning. Wayne. Be doing that honor shortly. But, we can't have these meetings like this without great sponsorship from all of our companies here on the peninsula. And SAMCEDA has a platinum chairman circle members who are always here to step up and support our organization in just so many ways. So allow me to read off all of these great companies that are supporting us here today. Bank of America, Bay Meadows Land Company, BKF Engineers, Bohannon Development, Hillsdale Shopping Center, the County of San Mateo, Facebook, Genentech, Google, Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford, Oracle, and a special thanks to Oracle for the facility today, PG&E, Samtrans Caltrain, San Francisco International Airport, Sequoia Hospital, a Dignity Health member, and Wells Fargo. So a big round of applause for our chairman circle. So we also have a series of corporate sponsors that have helped us here today. Brisbane Baylands Universal Paragon Corporation, Cargill, Embarcadero Capital Partners, Hanson Bridget, Kaiser Permanente, City of Menlo Park, Recology San Mateo County, San Mateo Credit Union, Summerhill Housing Group, and Webcor. Let's have a round of applause for our corporate sponsors. So we have a few business sponsors now as well, and we have the California Apartment Association, Republic Services, United American Bank. Round of applause for those folks. And a special thanks to the San Francisco Business Times, our media sponsor, and the program today is being filmed by Penn TV for viewing on Comcast Channel 26, Astound Channel 27, and Uverse Channel 29, or 99. So I have the pleasure of working side by side with just a great bunch of folks that make up the board of directors of SAMCEDA. And so may I ask at this time for the SAMCEDA board members to please stand and be recognized. Well, one of the hallmarks that exists here in this region is the strong partnership that we have with all of our elected officials, and it's this partnership between business and government. And so in that spirit, I would really like to recognize the following officials that were scheduled to be here with us today. And a number of them I've already seen. So the Honorable Warren Slocum, President of San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. San Mateo County Supervisor Dave Pine. San Mateo, the County of San Mateo Controller, Juan Ragosa. The Mayor of the City of South San Francisco, Mark Adiego. With the City of Burlingame, the Honorable Donna Colson. The Mayor of the City of Pacifica, the Honorable Sue Digray. The City of Colma, the Honorable Helen Fiscarero. And with the City of San Mateo, the Honorable Maureen Fresquet. City of South San Francisco, the Honorable Rich Garbarino. Mayor of the City of San Mateo, Joe Goethals. And with City of Redwood City, the Honorable Diane Howard. The Mayor of the City of Burlingame, Ann Kieran. City of Menlo Park, Kirsten Keith. The Mayor of the City of Millbrae, Ann Oliva. City of San Mateo, Diane Papin. The City of Millbrae, the Honorable Gina Papin. You can tell this is all alphabetical. The Mayor of the City of Redwood City, the Honorable John Siebert. And the Mayor of the City of Daly City, Sal Torres. Did I miss anyone? No, well, that's fantastic. So, also, we have some wonderful proclamations and certificates for today's award recipients. So, from the offices of Senator Dianne Feinstein, Congresswomen Anna Eshoo and Jackie Spear, State Senator Jerry Hill, Assembly Member Kevin Mullen, the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, and the cities of South San Francisco, Foster City, Redwood City, and San Mateo. Big thank you to all those cities for preparing those proclamations and certificates. Thank you. So as you can tell, there's a lot of businesses here, and we also have a lot of elected officials. And so it's really this region works together in such a wonderful way. But before we go on, it is my huge honor and pleasure to introduce the CEO of Oracle, Safra Katz.
Nice to see you. Thank you. Well, it is a real privilege to be here in front of all of you as I'm listening to all of the most important people here in this region. It is a particular honor for me to welcome you to our home here at Oracle. I love having you here. It's, I always feel like one of my sayings is use your power for good. And, having this organization here today means a lot to us, and especially because it is all focused around innovation. And, for this whole region, innovation, that is the name of our game. And I was just looking over a little bit, of our history. And I was reading through, even Oracle's beginning foundings. We actually had a different name way back when. it was called Software Development Labs. And now, of course, it's considered obvious that there are independent software companies that are not part of the hardware companies. But in fact, Oracle is one of the very first ones who went ahead and understood about the new innovation that software can be developed independently, entirely of the hardware. And, so we are always looking for these exciting new ideas, which many years later, I hate to remind Larry how many years later, end up really being pivotal. And this particular area is so very important. And the relationship between all of our companies and the community is so critical. And of course, because what is a company? What is a company? It's just people. Those are really our most important assets. And those people are our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues. That's it. So in many ways, this organization is really the perfect combination of what we need to work together to continue innovation, continue developing, and continue what is the most virtuous cycle of advancement and really the raising of the standard of living for everyone in the community. As I think some of you know, I see some of my friends out here, I am particularly passionate about the new school that we'd like to build on our campus. I think that this is potentially a phenomenal model for other big companies who care about their communities to continue to expand education. Because as many of us know, especially an immigrant like myself to the United States, it is but for education. And the education I got all the way from devotion school, all the way through Penn and Harvard Law School, that's what made it possible for me to be here in front of you all. And honestly, especially in the fields of innovation, that education has to start early, and it has to include everyone. And of course, as you can imagine, in my view also, especially girls, who oftentimes drop out of the whole innovation technology move early. And our goal is to get them in early. So I know I was only supposed to say thank you and welcome, but I have so many important people here, and I want to make sure you understand I really do thank you. We at Oracle thank you, all of us, and thank you to the organization for really focusing on innovation and growth. And thank you. Have a wonderful day and a conference. Thank you very much.
Well, what a wonderful way to be welcomed to this event. And so to continue on, I think that we have had the opportunity to acknowledge the various companies that have been supporting us, this great partnership we have with our elected officials and our local government that is here on the peninsula. And so no better kind of next step than to introduce somebody who really understands how all of that fits together and understands how we all need to work at various aspects of connecting all the dots. And so for somebody who really understands the various pieces and components, SAMCEDA is so pleased to have a CEO in Roseanne Faust that really gets all of that and gets how it needs to be a collaboration throughout this peninsula to be able to come up with innovative solutions. And we've got our challenges with the traffic and the housing, and somebody who's working really hard to pull together solutions and making sure that this peninsula has a seat at the table when those discussions occur. I give you our CEO, Roseanne Faust.
I am so grateful for the board of directors that SAMCEDA has, because as you can imagine, when I got the call on my cell phone this morning as we were setting up at 10 a.m., Sherry Sager, who sounded terrible on the phone, very sick, I immediately called Steve Mincy and I said, Steve, could you please do us a favor and welcome everyone? And Steve, without hesitation, said, of course I'll do it. Thank you, Steve. I'd really like to thank Safra Katz for being here today. As she stated, innovation is our lifeblood in San Mateo County and throughout the Bay Area. And we are so fortunate that back in the late 70s and then early 80s, Oracle came to be. And Oracle Corporation has been a huge partner with our 20 cities and our county and our education community, and really, where would we be? I mean, think about the companies that have spun off of Oracle. Think about the number of employees that Oracle has. But in thinking about that, you think about the Oracle employees and all of their volunteer work in the community, because that's what makes it such a great organization. So thank you to Randy Smith, thank you to Safra Katz, and thank you to everyone at Oracle for making this possible. So for those of you, how many of you, this is your first time at Innovators? Okay, so we have about, if I did a quick count, about 20. We have over 300 people here today. So with 280 that have been here before, we must be doing something right. So that's a good thing. And I know the weather kind of makes people sort of feel like, oh, but I know this audience, and I know most of you. And when you see our innovators today, it's going to knock your socks off, as it has in the past. They are absolutely an amazing group of companies, and they are here in San Mateo County. So, could I have a little energy for our innovators? Woohoo! So who is SAMCEDA? You see it on the brochure on your table. We were founded in 1953, primarily initially as someone that could help commercial real estate develop on the peninsula, because it was a very different place. And over the years, the word economic was added to its name. And really, what we are is we are a collection of organizations that look at business issues, championing the business community, that do public policy research, and that also do economic research. And we advocate for business out in the community. We convene sessions like this, and you'll see, and we work with other organizations from Bay Area Council to the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, to the East Bay, to the North Bay. It's very important for SAMCEDA to have a seat at the table and really to be out there. So we're a convener, we're a connector. Who do we connect? And who we have up on this screen is our 4 primary regulatory bodies: the Association of Bay Area Governments, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, BACMed, Bay Area Air Quality Management District, and BCDC, the Bay Conservation and Development Commission. And BCDC is one of the folks that Oracle is working with for the building of D-Tech High School here. And that is going to be phenomenal for our area. A high school paid for by a corporation, open to students in both the San Mateo and Sequoia Union High School districts. Not too shabby, folks. We're also a contributor So these are all the different initiatives that SAMCEDA is involved with. Peninsula Clean Energy, which we're proud to say all 20 cities in the county are supporting, and the rollout period will be happening to Connect 15. Thank you, Supervisor Slocum and Assemblymember Mullen, for putting together the first Connect 13. That was 2013, and now moving forward, excited to do 2016. The Caltrain Commuter Coalition. How many ride Caltrain on a regular basis? Okay, we have a few. It's going to be electrified. And that table in the middle says it's going to happen. So if you have any questions, please talk to the Caltrain table. We're also a communicator. SAMCEDA tries not to flood your email inbox. That is something that we really pride ourselves on. And so we send out periodic e-newsletters on issues related to our member companies, on things that we feel might be of interest to you as Caltrain and Yes We Code that we're supporting, an organization that is encouraging middle and high school young women to learn how to code. I mean, that's the workforce development piece. But what I'd like to do in kind of closing up my remarks and getting to our Bohannon Award winner is talk about the last 5 years. So SAMCEDA has done awards of excellence for a long time. But 5 years ago, we decided to really focus on innovation because that's what San Mateo County is all about, and innovation on every level, from the single person business to the 50 person to the 100. Everyone is an innovator when they get involved in business. So what's happened in the last 5 years? We've given 31 Innovator Awards. 4 of those companies have done initial public offerings. 2 have merged, not together, but with other companies. 5 were acquired. 3 relocated. But where did they relocate? 2 to Santa Clara County and 1 to San Francisco County, so not too far. 24 of 31 still call San Mateo County home. That's pretty impressive. As we were getting ready for today, I actually went back and I looked up all 31 companies, and it's fascinating where they're at in their life cycle, what's happened to them. You're going to see more information on these 31 over the coming months that we'll put out through our e-newsletter and our website. And they employ over 8,600 people. 8,600 people employed by 24 innovators that are still in San Mateo County. There's a few of the company logos. So what I'd like to do now, one of the hallmarks of SAMCEDA is really honoring the past, looking at the present, and thinking about the future. And in that, the David D. Bohannon Award is a very, very special award that SAMCEDA gives yearly at Innovators. And it is based on not only an individual's business acumen, but it is based on their philanthropic and their community engagement. And so to give the 2016 David D. Bohannon Award, I'd like to bring up Scott Bohannon.
Thanks, Roseanne. It's always a privilege to be able to come up here and give out this award in my granddad's name. I was close to him and respected and loved him dearly. Wayne Bunker, actually, he was born in Alabama, who's our recipient this year. But he moved here when he was 5, so he's really pretty much a local boy. He grew up in San Mateo, and then he went on to get a bachelor's degree from St. Mary's College, then a business administration degree from Notre Dame de Namur University. He is also a graduate of the Credit Union Executive Society Institute and the Stanford, California University Credit Union League Executive Development Program. It's a mouthful. Truly a local boy. Wayne has contributed to the San Mateo County's vitality for his entire adult life. He began his credit union career at CTA Credit Union, now Provident Credit Union, in 1975 after an honorable discharge from the United States Air Force. During his credit union career, Wayne has served in numerous industry leadership positions, including serving on the board of the Directors of the Financial Services Cooperative and as chairman of the board of the Directors of the Credit Union Executive Society. In 1997, he was elected to the Credit Union Executive Society Hall of Fame. He has served on the FSCC Shared Branch Network Board of Directors and on the Filing Research Council. Wayne also serves on the board of directors of the San Mateo County Redwood City Chamber of Commerce. Please join me in welcoming Wade Bunker as the 2016 David E. Bohannon Memorial Award of Excellence winner.
This could hurt someone. Yes.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the members of the SAMCEDA Board of Directors for honoring me with the David Bohannon Memorial Award. Thanks also to SAMCEDA for holding this event each year to recognize innovation and entrepreneurship, qualities that define the members of our businesses and community service organizations. Not every community has such a diligent association that works consistently on its behalf to improve and strengthen it. It's been my honor and privilege over the years to contribute to the quality of life in San Mateo County. As the president of Provident Credit Union, an organization with the objective of being a valued corporate citizen, I've been fortunate to be able to lead those efforts. There are many organizations here that are doing great work to make San Mateo County a better place to live and work. They rely on corporate and individual support, and I have had multiple opportunities to provide both financial and personal support while trying to make a difference in my home community. As a longtime resident of San Mateo County, I have benefited from visionaries like Mr. Bohannon, who saw the potential here and helped develop it into the thriving community it has become. I congratulate the innovative companies being recognized today, reflective of the creative and progressive environment being nurtured in this county. I thank you again for this honor. I am committed to remaining engaged in ways that benefit San Mateo County. I'm delighted to see how far we have come over the years, and I'm excited to think about the plans we have for the future. Thank you.
I've known Wayne now for, 16, 17, 18, about 18 years. He was one of the first people that I met when I started to get involved locally. He is not only smart, he's funny, he's a gentleman, and I just want to personally thank you. Thank you. So we are moving on to the innovator portion of our agenda today. And we're going to invite each of the companies up one by one. They are going to present. SAMCEDA learned a few years ago. We used to have different speakers and a little bit of a different format. And we learned that it's best to have a combination of someone who can talk about innovation, like Safra Katz earlier, and a presentation by the innovators, because people are really interested in what these companies do. Usually, folks have not heard about them. So this gives them an opportunity to showcase who they are, why they're in San Mateo County, and what you can expect from them in the future. So I am going to bring up our first award winner, and that is Carbon 3D, and with us today is Phil DeSimone. Phil? Just the green.
Just the green. Okay. I want to thank SAMCEDA for giving us this honor, and I also want to thank the city of Redwood City for being our home base for the last 2 years. So we moved out here in 2000, I guess actually about 2013 from North Carolina, and it's been a fun ride since we've come. So a little bit about our company. We're a new state-of-the-art 3D printing technology. We have about 135 employees today. We've raised $141 million in venture capital from some of the best venture firms, including Sequoia, Silver Lake, Google, et cetera. And what we really invented was a new way to think about fabricating products. We kind of stick out like a sore thumb here in the Valley. There's a lot of people that do software. There's a lot of people that do hardware. And we kind of have material science also thrown in, which is exciting and allows us to get some of the best talent in the world. But to take you through a little bit about what we're working on, let me take a step back and tell you a little bit about the 3D printing market today. And there's been a lot of people that have hyped 3D printing for a long time. And if you look at it, it's been mostly in the prototyping market. So some of the top companies in the world, before they deliver the products that you know and love, they prototype it using additive technologies. And it's about a $4 billion market. It's growing 30% a year, so it's still fairly small. I always joke that scented candles is a $10 billion market. So to kind of give you an expertise, it's still a fairly small market. But it's highly fragmented. Across anyone that makes physical goods, you're essentially going to be prototyping them first. And so when you look at kind of why it's always stuck in the prototyping market, additive gives you a lot of things. One is complexity is free. You don't have the design rules that you would traditionally have with traditional manufacturing. You have zero lead time. I can design a part, send it to a printer, and have it out within a decent amount of time, 24 hours or less. And then there's essentially zero skilled labor involved in order to actually get these machines to run. It's not like somebody's programming a CNC machine or so on. However, it's had a lot of issues. One is speed has been a major problem. If you look at, I think Meg Whitman described watching a 3D printer was like watching ice melt. Essentially, you can put an object in, you come back, and maybe a couple hours later you'll see something, but really, really slow process. The other issue is material properties. So if you look at kind of polymer processes, they're layer by layer production of a three-dimensional object. That's how these 3D printers work. You're essentially extruding a plastic on top of itself over and over and over again until you create your object. The issue is you have poor interfacial adhesion between those layers, and so you have poor mechanical properties. They don't behave like injection molded parts, which is a major issue, which is why people have traditionally stuck with the manufacturing processes that people have loved and that are tried and true. And that's the main reason why we think 3D printing is in the chasm. It's kind of failed to cross that in the manufacturing sense of the word. If you look at the process that we developed, we launched this on TED Stage about actually a year ago. We developed this process that we call CLIP, which is continuous liquid interface production. And essentially, we developed a way to continuously print something. So instead of doing that layer by layer thing that you would see traditionally from a MakerBot or some of the other SLA processes, we grow our parts out of a pool of liquid. And this was something that was a major breakthrough when we first did it. I believe we had about 3 or 4 million TED views in a span of a week, which was pretty impressive. But this process allows us to bridge that speed gap that has held back 3D printers historically. The other thing that it does is our parts, they come out and they have no layers. They have smooth surfaces, and they behave like injection molded parts. They have invariant mechanical properties. So we can actually print things that can go on a vehicle and no one can know the difference. So we've had a lot of success, particularly in those applications. This is the printer that we're actually bringing to market. No one really has seen this yet. So in next month, we will be launching this. There'll be a big piece in Bloomberg. And this printer is essentially a new way to view capital equipment. It's a connected device. They're streaming about 80 million data points a week. And it allows us to provide a great customer support and a closed loop feedback that is traditionally not seen in additive to date. And it allows us to go after a lot of great applications. And so here's a couple of them. The one on the left is actually an electrical connector. It's not a super exciting thing, but if you look at that market, it's a $37 billion market. And you look at the amount of effort that goes into manufacturing that piece, that little plastic piece that you see all over automobiles and aerospace and any sort of consumer products, it takes roughly around 6 months to make that injection mold. It costs about $500,000. And so typically you do not design your own electrical connectors. You use the ones that Ford and GM and Toyota have designed and built in masses. This part, we dropped off a machine at one of these electrical connector partners of ours. Within 2 hours, they were able to print this off and CT scan it. And not only did it have the dimensional accuracy needed to be production, but it also had the material properties that were identical to what you would see in a production application. And so you can actually now do low volume manufacturing. If you want, or like Tesla, and you make 50,000 automobiles, you don't need 1 million electrical connectors. And so now they can come and custom design their own electrical connectors and have them made. The object on the right is an elastomer puck. We have a big partnership with a large athletic footwear company that I'm not allowed to mention. But the whole goal there is to actually release a shoe that's custom designed to you. The whole concept of shoes being size 11, size 12 is baloney. It should be size Phil or size Alex. And they should be designed to your needs and designed to your foot structure. And so those are the types of things that we're working on. We have a wide range of materials that show a lot of opportunity across many applications. We have a rigid polyurethane. This would be similar to what you would see from nylon and ABS-like applications for automotive and interior and exterior automotive parts. We have about 600 cars driving around Munich, Germany with BMW right now with our parts on them, doing field testing that are ultimately resulting in us looking at 27 parts that we will go into production with them in 2017 and 2018. We have a semi-rigid polyurethane, which behaves just identically to injection molded polypropylene, which is the most injection molded material on Earth. And there's no way to 3D print polypropylene today, so that was a major breakthrough. We designed that with Ford as being a major issue. The elastomer I showed you, and is in the cyanate ester, which is essentially similar to what you would see from Ultem. Ultem is a material that you can use in under-the-hood applications like automobiles. So we do a lot of air intake valves, some stuff for F1 and NASCAR and so on. Ford developed this slide, which essentially is comparing our materials to the most injection molded materials they use. Again, one of the big breakthroughs here is that our materials behave like injection molded materials. This is something you do not see from additive today. And what this does is it helps educate their engineers that there's a new process that you can design for. If you look at it traditionally, the toolbox for manufacturing that you see that engineers have, 3D printing is not in that toolbox. And so we have to educate them to get it in there so that they have a new way, new approach to design. Huge into software, again. If you look at what we're doing, it really is at the intersection of hardware, software, and molecular science. We have one building, everyone works shoulder to shoulder, and that's important in order to make this work. And so when you look at it, we have auto support generation for the parts, as well as real-time data feedback and network effect improvements. Traditionally in additive, if you had a failure, you're kind of on your own as a user. You have to figure out and tweak it the way in order to get it to come out right. Our users They hit the help me button, beams back the failed data. We beam down the appropriate way to print it, and our algorithms get better. Very the same way as Google had search early on when it was kind of okay, and it's traditionally gotten better and better and better with time. We have a very same focus here. And so what we bring with CLIP is that we bring all of those advantages that additive have, but also with the advantages that you would see from traditional manufacturing. So we can do low to medium volume with the surface finish that you'd expect and the mechanical properties you expect from production parts. And so with that, we think that we will be able to bridge that gap between, bridge the gap and actually cross the chasm into manufacturing with something that additive hasn't really done yet today. Again, we have a large customer base. We're proud to have 23 customers in the field with our machines today. We were about to be doing another big launch of them, but we actually had 40% of them come back and order their second, third, and fourth machines. And this is a big statement for a startup like ours. For repeat customers to come and buy extra machines, additional capital equipment, shows that their investment in us, and we're doing some unbelievable things with them. Again, the whole concept is taking something that's been traditionally prototyping and building a factory of the future. And what this takes is a concept of, instead of sending all of our parts to China and have them manufactured and sent back here, you have the concept of decentralized manufacturing. You can manufacture anywhere. So the folks that we're working with, like our athletic footwear partner, Ford, BMW, the whole concept is building the parts where you need them. And so they will be opening up their factories for the first time here in the US, or the athletic footwear partner hasn't made anything here in the US since the 1980s. And this will be the first time that they're actually manufacturing things here in Portland and so on, so it's pretty cool. We also are doing a lot of work in life sciences, from things like biodegradable microneedles all the way to corrective orthodontics, and to surgical guides. We have a big partnership with J&J that was announced recently, where we're working on surgical guides and surgical implants 3D printed that are custom to you, right? What's great is a lot of these applications, they're better, you can offer better treatments if you make the products to the patient's specific needs. And that's one of the advantages that we're able to get if you're able to get the appropriate mechanical properties. I will end with this. I work with one of the most accomplished group of people that I've ever met in my life. We have an unbelievable engineering team, an unbelievable group of people that we've been able to get from some of the best companies in the world. Craig Carlson was a VP of firmware and electrical integration at Tesla for 7 years, was VP of engineering at Intuit for 15. We were able to convince him to join, and he's been a Pied Piper from bringing great talent in the Valley to us. Joe, who is a CEO who was supposed to be giving this talk, who also had an injury or got sick last minute, so I came and gave this presentation not really knowing what his slides were looking like, but it ended up being hopefully not too bad. I would have definitely done the order differently. Joe and I, you'll recognize the same last name. He's my father. He and I started that company in 2012 in our garage. I was finishing up an e-commerce company at the time, and we were able to get some great funding from great investors and move out here and do something special. Again, as I said before, we've got 135 people on our team today, including Alex, who will help kind of walk through some of the things from a cultural standpoint, which is, again, as we're talking about differently. Can you use that? I don't know if that's turned off.
Hello?
Oh, there you go.
Thanks, Bill. So when I joined about 8 months ago and I was about to accept my offer, I asked my friends for advice, should I accept this offer or not? And they said, well, this sounds like a hardware company and you're a software engineer. Why would you go that route for your career? You should join a software company. There's so many in the Silicon Valley. But I joined despite that, and honestly, the best part about working at Carbon is the fact that I can interact with so many different people, materials engineers, hardware engineers, and as a startup, you can interact with the finance department, HR, sales, customer service, and that's the best part of my job. So I'm a software quality assurance engineer, and you might think, oh, all day I just push buttons on the user interface, but there's more than that. There's, of course, the part where the customer has to actually print and upload their part and see it and make sure it all looks good. But behind the printer, there's actually a lot of software that's going on. Part of it is making sure that, oh, when the light is shining, you want to shine it for the right amount of time, and that depends on the cross-section of the part, the geometries, how the part's going to turn out, the different kinds of resins. There's also a lot that goes into part accuracy, where something that might shrink because of the heat in the resins you can account for in software. It's not something you have to solve for in hardware. And of course, there's a bunch of the release and everything I drive, and code stability. And a lot of the different cross-sections that we work with, this all contributes to our culture. And I compiled a slide with a bunch of pictures that I've taken over the past 8 months. Being able to work with so many different people brings a lot of diverse views, and the creativity is just enormous. You can see the materials team here. They dressed up as Mario as part of our Halloween celebration. We also have a bunch of dogs in our office. It's an open office, and just spawn a lot of creativity, and it's very open and accountability. In the bottom right picture, you can see that the dog and the software engineer have a cone on their head because dog just got surgery, but in software we have, if you break the build, you have to wear a cone or have it on your desk. So she also broke the build that day.
There's nothing like public shame.
Yes. And we are lucky to be in a great city. I commute from San Jose every day, which isn't the easiest commute, especially on the rainy days, but I look forward to being here every day. My favorite part of the day is going out for lunch. We're walkable distance from Redwood City, and there's so many great restaurants. I found a new bubble tea place, and it helps that there's the only Dairy Queen, I think, in the Bay Area is also in Redwood City, so my ice cream intake has quadrupled pretty much since I've joined. I also took this picture outside our company of the sunset. It was really good that day. And of course, having working at a 3D printing company, it's really cool because you can print whatever you want. So those are some of the hedgehogs that I printed by mixing some colors together. So just wanted to thank the community letting us be here. We've really had a good time. And thank you for the work.
And one more statement. We are actually in the middle of moving too, but unlike the companies that left, we're actually staying in Redwood City. So we'll be going to a new facility that we're pretty excited about opening. Hopefully within the next 6 months. We need it. But yeah, I appreciate everyone hosting us today and giving us this honor. Thank you.
So what did you think of our first company out of the box? It's absolutely fascinating. I had the opportunity to visit 3D a few months back, and as I'm walking through the office, I kept getting distracted by all the things that they printed that are on their desks. It was a wide variety of animals and athletic equipment, and I mean, it was everything. And I kept saying, did you print that? Did you print that? It was a consistent yes. Just an amazing company. Our next one, we have the president and CEO, Greg Moore, with Fit 3D, and he's going to come up on stage and introduce Fit 3D. This is something for everyone. It's going to be fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it. How's everyone today? Great. Good, fantastic. Thank you, SAMCEDA, for having us. This is a great honor for us. We really appreciate it. We're also housed out of Redwood City, and it has been a fantastic home for us for, 4 years now, so that's been fantastic. And thank you, Oracle, for housing us here. We really appreciate it as well. Appreciate it. So let's see if we can get our slides, maybe. No? There we go. All right, that was my opening slide. So thank you. So I'm so happy that we're going after carbon 3D. And you'll see why on slide 4 or 5. But Fit 3D basically does three-dimensional body scanning, right? And you know how they talked about the Innovators Chasm, and if you've ever read the book Innovators Dilemma and all these other things, you kind of understand the life cycle curve of products. They're crossing the chasm while we're at the very early adopter stage, even before that in the innovator side. And companies like Carbon 3D allow our company to successfully grow. One, because we use 3D printed technology to help to prototype our hardware, which you'll see in a little bit. And two, because we basically fill the data side of what they need in order to create products on a body level. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit as well. So primarily, the primary focus of the company is that body measurements are just about impossible to capture, and they're even more impossible to capture on a grand suite of people around the globe. And so when you think about what body measurements are used for today, you can understand things like body shape health risk assessment, right? We use a metric called BMI, and BMI is basically something that we are evaluated on. Me, for example, I'm obese based on BMI. I don't feel very obese, I don't think I look very obese, and I think I'm healthier than that. However, I have to prove to my insurance company that I'm not. And so based on some of the research coming out from UCSF, LSU, West Virginia University, Ryerson, the list goes on, and focusing on 3D body shape, understanding where the mass is in your body, they have a much better understanding and prediction of your overall health and mortality. So that's one use of the outset of our data. The second one is in product design. And so if you think about it, the chairs that you're sitting in right now were designed based on specific ergonomics data captured in the 1920s. One, it's based on a sample set of about 100 people. Two, it's captured in the 1920s, our bodies are different, right? And so based on Fit3D, we basically create these body models, and we capture measurements on human bodies so that we can help to enhance product development going forward. And then three, customized services and products. And I think you see Justin Timberlake over there basically dressed in a bespoke suit. This is a massively growing market right now. And so what companies are doing right now is they're sending tailors all over the world, right, to wrap tape measures around people, enter that data into a database, and then build them a custom suit. No longer are people going to Macy's or Nordstrom's or Bloomingdale's to buy a suit, or your local tailor. They can buy any suit from a various number of online e-commerce sites where you can basically get it customized to your measurements. So there's this massive opportunity that's out there that's starving for bodies. It's starving for body measurements. And that's where Fit3D comes into play. That's loud. I'm sorry. So anyway, I didn't expect to do that loud, so I apologize. So basically this is our device, right? So this lady's gonna log into the platform. She's gonna create an account for herself. She's gonna stand on this turntable. She's gonna think. She's gonna hold down two buttons. She's gonna spin around. And there's gonna be a depth camera that you're gonna see here in a moment, and it's gonna take about 1,200 images off the human body. These are different images than your regular colored image. They understand how far away each pixel is from the body. So when she finishes here in just a moment. All right. So at this point, we're gonna encrypt all her data. We're gonna shoot it up to our servers, and then we're gonna process it. We run these massive GPU servers that are housed down in San Jose. And they're basically gonna build a full three-dimensional model of her human body. And so this is something that used to be done on $250,000 machines just about 5 years ago. And we found a way to cost reduce this to the point where we can democratize this and put it all over the world. After that, we take measurements on the body. So every single yellow line that you see there is a measurement that we take. So whether that be for health, whether that be for ergonomics, whether that be for clothing, we have the measurements that are necessary to fill the void in all of those channels so that you can do product development. You can do custom fitted clothing, you can do custom fitted products for that person. And 3D printing is another thing that's really amazing as far as that goes, because it allows us to prototype or build things for the body very quickly without having to go through the traditional manufacturing processes, and allowing basically us to have more customized things for our body. So that's what Fit3D does as a product, right? Now let me talk a little bit more about the technology behind it. So you've seen the Pro Scanner. We showed a video of that. And the Fit3D processing cloud is another thing in there, right? We can take scans basically from any device. And we see a world where that's going to be even more democratized than we're able to create. People are creating scanners. It's relatively easy nowadays. And so, all right, how do we step up? How do we become a side apart? So we create this processing cloud where we can run all of our algorithms on this data. We can do all of the measurements. We can provide all the services and channels as you see there on the right side. So clients basically take a scan, they log in, and they can see all of their scans. They can see scans side by side. They can look at health risk assessments. They can look at the services that we provide, whether or not you want to get a 3D printed figurine of your body, or if you want to partner up with one of our companies that we're starting to work with in the apparel space to go get a custom suit based on your measurements, you no longer have to go to your tailor. We just do it for you. It's automatic. It takes 30 seconds. So our business model, and we're a lot sort of earlier than Carbon 3D, but we're growing and we're having fun with it. But so basically, we found that there's a massive market overlap. The people that buy things online, the people that shop for online apparel and that buy bespoke suits and that do all these fun, innovative things, generally go to health clubs. So there's a massive overlap there. Nice thing about health clubs is that there's no negotiating power in the health club space, right? So we basically maintain the rights to all of the data that's captured at health club, while they sell more memberships and they sell more personal training. So it's a full circle interaction here. It makes it a very nice opportunity for both the client and for us as the business. So we sell this into health clubs. I showed Equinox, they're actually our biggest client right now, which is pretty cool. And then they scan bodies, and those bodies go through our database, and then we provide services. So where is Fit3D right now as a company? So we launched to the market in 2014. We started the company on a vision back in 2010 and then incorporated it in 2012. And since 2014, we have set up distribution in more than 17 countries around the world. We've sold more than 275 scanners. And the cool thing about that number is that in the past 30 years, since body scanning has been a thing, the biggest company out there other than us has only sold 150 systems. So we're doing something right. We're doing something that's really, really interesting. We've captured more than 55,000 scans. There's a scan taken on one of our systems worldwide every 5 to 7 minutes. And you can understand how, as we basically scale linearly through our systems being placed, we scale exponentially through the data collected. And that is absolutely our business model, and it's quite exciting to see. The other thing is that as a part of the business, if you remember from the slide, we talked about looking at this for health risk assessments. We can't do that ourselves, right? We're a small company. We raise money from venture companies in order to do what we do. So we set up partnerships. And we've set up partnerships with LSU, UCSF, Ryerson, and SF Austin State, all studying some very exciting things. UCSF and LSU are looking at, again, how I said before, body shape as it relates to overall mortality and health risk assessment. Ryerson University is looking at predicting how bodies change with specific types of activity and nutrition. And then you get SF Austin, which is doing a really cool study. It's basically trying to understand how you think about your body from a subconscious level. So they hook you up with EKG, and they understand your brain activity as you're staring at your scan for the first time. And then as your body shape changes, how different is your subconscious, right? So not just the questionnaire that you fill out, but what is it going on inside of your brain that you don't tell people? And then on the product side, again, this is all about partnering and building out a channeled set of services for individuals to use their body scans through a myriad of different ways. So first and foremost is bespoke clothing, which I talked about before. We've also got some corporate wellness and some health insurance partners. We're rolling out through Germany and through Canada right now. And so they're basically looking at changing their assessment technology so that they would incorporate our body shapes and therefore have a better understanding non-invasively of people's overall health. And then we're also partnering with a company that does custom support braces. So if you think about it, you could go to CVS and buy a brace, a sleeve, let's say a knee sleeve, and you fit it on. But there's other companies out there that create custom braces for your specific body. Again, their challenge is capturing measurements on the body. And within 30 seconds, these people can capture measurements on any part of their body they want, go order a custom brace, and they've solved their distribution problem. So that's pretty exciting for us as well. So our team, we've got 9 employees full-time right now. So again, we're growing, we're getting there. But we started by myself, Tyler, and Tim, who are sitting right here. Thank you guys. And then also Sean. And so we've got quite a diverse background. I come from sports tech. If you guys watch baseball and you see the strike zone on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, I was in the inventing team for all that technology, which is pretty cool. And so then we took that and parlayed that into a data service, which then helped to define basically our business model for this company. Tyler's worked in defense for a long time, and then also in high mobile throughput advertising platforms. And then Tim worked with me at SportVision as well, the prior company. And then Sean, and I told you we sell into fitness centers and things like that. He ran fitness centers for about 25 years through 3 of the biggest companies at the time. So he knows that industry quite well. So that's quite exciting. So where we are as a company, we're right now just about to close down our Series A fundraise of $3 million. We raised about $1.88 million before as a seed round. We have the largest 3D body scanner distribution in the world. We have the largest scan database in the world. We have 200% year-over-year growth, which is quite exciting for us. And then I said before, we've also got 9 full-time employees. So part of that, we've been housed, like I said, from the very beginning in Redwood City, and it's been fantastic. I think we know every single restaurant in downtown Redwood City right now, and they're awesome. And we keep getting excited by new opportunities to go and spend our money for lunch out there, but they're great. And the city's been really, really nice to us. It's been a fantastic location for us to be able to grow and flourish, and we're very excited and very honored to be a part of it. That's it for me as Fit3D, and you can think about us as revolutionizing everything about fit. So thank you guys very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
So before we get on to our next innovator, I'd like to give you a bit of information. Every year, literally the minute after this Innovators event is over, we begin collecting data for the 2017 Innovators. And we do that in a variety of ways. We do it through referrals, people that have heard of companies that then we do the research on. We comb business magazines, everything from Bloomberg, Forbes, Business Week, the Business Times. We look for those innovative companies. And just so you know, when the synopsis of each of the companies goes out to our board of directors from a judging perspective, they go out with the name and the synopsis. They do not go out with the location, the city, because I'm sitting there smiling because our first 2 companies were from my home city, Redwood City, and I didn't want anyone to think we were kind of stacking the deck for Redwood City companies. It is something that we have great companies throughout San Mateo County. And so when it goes to the board, they look at it, and they're not as familiar with the companies as we are, so we provide additional data. We look up other sources, and it's amazing. We usually send between 15 and 20 prospective innovators, and for every year except 1, we've selected 6. 1 year we selected 7 because we just they couldn't decide between the 6th and the 7th company. So, and if you notice, there's a theme with these companies about how many different lives and individuals that they touch. So from Carbon 3D and what is possible to Fit 3D, you're going to hear next from Health Crowd, and they're going to talk about the integration of all of us into data. So I'd like to bring up Bing Do with Health Crowd.
Fun to be following Carbon 3D and Fit 3D because they brought you into the future, and I'm going to bring you back to an industry that's unfortunately still stuck in the past, and Health Crowd's trying to bring them into the future. So hello everyone, my name is Bing, founder and CEO of Health Crowd. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you to SAMCEDA for this privilege. For the longest time, most of our customers were actually based in the Northeast, and being a healthcare company, all the action happens in DC. So it's great to be able to share what we're doing here locally in our hometown, or in this case, home county. We are in San Mateo. We're based out of the Bayshore Corporate Commons complex right off 101. So just some company fast facts. So what is HealthCrowd? We are a healthcare communications platform, and we work with large healthcare organizations like the Aetnas, Anthems of the World, to help them better reach, engage, and activate their members using persuasive communications. Our claim to fame, and I know this sounds weird, in this day and age, but we do power the largest healthcare-related text messaging programs in the country. In fact, the biggest text messaging program by any health plan in this country was actually powered by us, and this was as late as 2015. From 2014 to 2015, we saw a 3x year-over-year revenue growth, and this year we're expecting to touch over 10 million lives. We do have a national footprint today, and we're funded by the fine folks over at Startup Capital Ventures based out of Menlo Park, Healthy Ventures based out of San Francisco, and some great angel groups. So our vision is to transform healthcare communications from the very mundane, routine activity that it is today into a strategic lever for our customers. Our customers include health plans, integrated delivery networks, providers, pharmacy benefit managers, as well as pharmacies. And our mission is to touch 100 million lives by the end of 2020. So I think that this is likely a sort of cross-industry audience here. So I thought it'd be sort of helpful to step back to look at what does the larger healthcare ecosystem actually look like. And so what we've done here is we've mapped out the different players in this system. And as you all know, healthcare is a complex business in this country. And if we start at the very top, we've got everyone from government payers, or what they call Medicaid, Medicare health plans, to self-insured employers, to providers, hospitals, clinics, integrated delivery networks, pharmacies, PBMs, labs, and those are the guys in the dark gray. If you look at the light gray boxes, that is a thriving ecosystem of vendors that serve all of these guys in the gray. Now there's one thing that all of them have in common, and that is every healthcare company needs to communicate with somebody at some point in time, be it a patient, member, consumer, visitor, user, or a prospect. And that's where HealthCrowd comes in. So we're looking at a really tremendous market opportunity. In order to fully appreciate what we do, I kind of need you to get into Marty McFly's time machine and sort of go back to the 20th century. No offense to Sequoia, Kaiser, I know you guys are here. But healthcare is really still stuck in the 20th century. It's funny, I read this survey last year. It said that today, millennials consider it intrusive if you call them without texting them first. Yeah, I'm sure many of us can identify with that. And then it's sort of interesting because we work a lot with health insurers, and you'll find it surprising that there are two primary modes of communication with their members, so people like you and me. Today, it's still snail mail and a call center, so real people actually making these calls. We know what happens to that snail mail, swish. And we know what happens to those call center calls. So enter HealthCrowd. So what we do for these organizations is we sort of unify all of the different digital modalities, so text messaging, email, nanosites, voice calls, under one umbrella. And we use them in concert based on what resonates best with you, the member. We're also unifying the different departments so that for the very first time, they have visibility into every single digital member touch point. Here are some of the programs that we power in order to sort of make this a little less abstract. So it's everything from medication adherence to condition-specific programs like asthma, diabetes, and even things like member welcome, benefit communications, and things like that. We are an end-to-end solution, so what that means is we don't just power the technology, we also create all of the content that goes along with all of these programs. And it's sort of interesting. Some of you may be sitting here thinking, okay, so what's the secret sauce here? Well, we are at a public forum, so I couldn't possibly be disclosing our deepest and darkest secrets, but I will tell you this. A lot of what has made our programs work is the application of ed tech to health tech. So I spent most of my background prior to healthcare in the advertising industry. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I got really, really interested in this whole area called patient engagement. And didn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that behavior change was the name of the game. So I kind of said to myself, aren't advertisers masters of behavior change and persuasion? I don't know about some of you ladies, but every time I'm surfing the web, there's this pair of shoes that follows me from page to page. And what's even sadder is that oftentimes I buy that pair of shoes because the advertisers have it down. There are tried and tested techniques to motivate consumers to take action. And essentially, that's a lot of what we've done here. We're taking tried and tested techniques from the online advertising industry, applying it over to healthcare communications, but this time around to motivate a healthy action. One like taking your meds, going for your screening, things like that. And the message on the top left is actually one of our winningest, if there was ever such a word, messages of all time. And it just simply says, hey, you, it's me, your heart. Give me my meds, then text back yes. And don't ask me why it's such a popular message. Last but not least of all, we're really grateful and thankful to be making a difference. These are all real results, not made up, from programs that we've powered over the last several years. They're all statistically significant with confidence levels over 99%. And we're also very proud to be working a lot with Medicaid beneficiaries, so underserved populations. In fact, Medicaid has been our bread and butter from the get-go, so a lot of women and children. And on the bottom here, I have one of our favorite patient testimonials of all time. This was a gentleman who was part of a cardiac rehab program that we were powering. So it was a text message intervention only. And he lives in rural Iowa. And we sent out a survey asking this group, on a scale of 1 to 10, how useful are the text messages we're sending you in helping you reach your health goals? And he said, 10 or even more. These texts are driving me to keep myself fit and help me take my meds and educate me. They're now part of my life. And on that warm and fuzzy note, I'd like to thank SAMCEDA again and appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Thank you.
That is absolutely fascinating. How many folks would love to get a text to remind them either about medication or remind you about getting in your steps or walking? Show of hands. How many of you are now texting on your phone and checking if your healthcare provider actually has this service? There we go. So our last innovator today that's going to present, because I need to tell you, 2 of our innovators, Norse, who is the threat detection security, is in the midst of some very interesting dynamics at the company, and so they could not join us today. And Oric Pharmaceuticals, based in South San Francisco, they are in clinical trials for some of their cancer-resistant drugs that they're developing. So for our last innovator today, we have a company called Wonder Workshop. And as Amanda was putting together the slides for today's presentation, she kept calling me, you have to see this slide, you need to see this slide, we need these. It's absolutely fascinating. They're going to change the name of the game in education. And I think you're going to be very excited. And Saurabh Gupta is the CEO of Wonder Workshop, and we've been very fortunate because Phil DeSimone is the VP of Business Development, one of the early folks involved in the company. Greg Moore, as you saw, the CEO, Bing Do, the CEO, and now Saurabh Gupta is going to come up and talk about Wonder Workshop.
Hello, everyone. I'm Saurabh. I'm one of the founders and the CTO of Wonder Workshop. It's an honor to be here and to be conferred with this award. So thank you to organizers and everyone who's here. So I'm going to take the next few minutes and talk about who Wonder Workshop is, what we do, and why we do that. So we're a small startup based in San Mateo. Our mission is, how do we make computer science accessible for everyone, every child, every adult? So we make computer science and robotics every child's play. So to understand why we do it, I want to sort of go back to the history of the company, how we started. So my background is in building devices. Before Wonder Workshop, I was at Apple building very different devices, iPods, iPads. I'm sure all of you have used those. But this was about the time when I had my first child. And me and the rest of the founding team, we wanted to do something for kids, with kids. And that's when we started reading a lot about stuff like this, about how Estonia is making coding part of first grade education. And that was a bit of a surprise to us. So these are first graders, so kids who are 5 and 6. What does it even mean for them to be doing coding? Like, how does a 5-year-old code? So that's when we read about a lot of research from places like MIT about how kids as young as 5 can code. What they really need are the tools to be able to fulfill their potential. So this is a sort of a cliche word, but we keep hearing this: software is eating the world. Software is around you in everything that you do. It controls how you travel, how you live, how you farm. A lot of what's happening in the world right now and in the future is going to be controlled by software. But are our kids ready for that? Are they ready to understand how is it that software is controlling things around them? And this is the other shocking thing we discovered. In the US, 9 out of 10 schools do not offer computer programming classes. Now, this is surprising. So I come from India. That's where I learned coding. I started when I was fairly young. And I come to this country where we're really, especially in this area, software defines a lot of innovation. To me, that's shocking that my kids will grow up in a place where 90% of the kids don't even have the chance to learn computer science.
Our children are growing up in a world where computer literacy is as essential as reading, writing, and arithmetic. Introducing Bo and Yana. They're toy robots, but they're so much more than that. They're a learning and storytelling platform that makes computer programming accessible and fun. Meet Bo. Bo can be programmed to do an unlimited number of things, from basic movement, to object detection, to complex sequences of instructions. And this is Yana. Yana can detect when it is being moved, allowing children to invoke characters. These robots can detect each other, and accessories can be added to give them special abilities.
They teach the basics of computer science in one of the best ways possible. Problem solving through hands-on playtime. And our research shows that that is one of the best ways for children to learn.
Bo and Yana are designed to be programmed by children using our touch interface with music, animation, and stories, as well as existing languages like Scratch and Blockly.
We try to get them to watch less TV, push them to learn new things, but it wasn't until these robots came out of the box and our kids just got so absorbed.
Programming applies to and is used by virtually every field: art, architecture, medicine, law. Learning to program is really learning problem solving, taking something big and seemingly incomprehensible, breaking it down, and building up a solution. And this concept really applies to virtually anything in life.
Learning to program isn't only to become a computer programmer. We want to help shape our future innovators, our future thinkers, our future leaders. And the future is today.
So this was thank you. So this is how the company started. We're about 3 years old. We started in 2012. In 2013, we ran a crowdfunding campaign. So this was a time when we wanted to prove that there is a market for a product like this, that both teachers and parents are interested in getting a product that can teach kids programming. So as part of that, we ran this crowdfunding campaign for 30 days, which did well, and kind of set us up to get to the place where we are now. So meet Dash and Dot. So these are our first products. So these are robots designed to teach kids programming, robots designed for kids to have fun with out of the box. And as they proceed, as they solve the missions and challenges in our software, they learn the concepts of computer science. So that sort of covers why we are doing this. But an obvious question is, why robots? So research has shown programming is a very abstract concept. It's very hard to go to a 6-7-year-old and talk about concepts like variables. They are really abstract. So robots help make them more tangible, more fun. So that's one way where we want to make it more accessible for young kids and hopefully make them understand the power and the potential of what they can do with programming. So the goal with the robots are, it's engaging for kids as young as 5. It's fun right out of the box. You open the box, you start playing with the robots. For a child, the notion is not that they are buying the product to learn about programming. For them, it has to be all about fun. And really, the programming is sort of the hidden motive that gets them forward. But it's really, really all about fun, both for the parent and for the child. So now I'm going to talk about sort of where we are. So we started with this crowdfunding campaign. It did pretty well. We raised about $1.5 million in 30 days. So we had 7,000 orders, people coming to our website and ordering this product, which will be delivered to them in a year. This made us the largest crowdfunding campaign in the category. In fact, we were 4x larger than the closest competition. So this was back in 2014. We started shipping the robots in 2015. So by the end of 2015, we fulfilled all the 7,000 orders we got during the crowdfunding campaign. We started selling the robots in 2016. So we have been in the market for just over a year. We sell on our website, on Amazon, in the Apple Store, and a few select retail partners. The biggest thing for us, the biggest validation of what we are doing has been how these robots are getting used in schools. So we had our first sale to a school about 11 months ago. And in those 11 months, the robots are now being used in over 1,200 elementary schools just in the US. So when we started the company, our primary focus was parents at homes. That's who we thought would largely buy the product, and that's still the case. But it was really gratifying for us to see educators and teachers use the product in schools. And that has helped us a lot to both validate the product and make sure it works for our audience. One of the other things we talk about is our mission is to teach kids programming. So what we do does not end when we make the sale. We have about close to 100,000 kids who are now using our robots across the world, primarily in the US. But one thing we do a lot is keep coming up with ways to engage them past the purchase. And as part of that, in October 2015, a few months ago, we ran this robotics competition. So we were hoping to have a few hundred, maybe 1,000 kids engage with us and participate in this competition. We eventually had close to 7,000 kids who participated in this competition. So this was something that ran over a month, where kids were given a set of challenges that they had to solve. So a competition where we got a lot of interest from all over the world. Eventually, the winner was a team from a small school based in Austin, and we are flying them over here to meet with a bunch of innovative companies and show them the potential of what the kid can do. Also, in the last 1 year, we have been honored to receive pretty much every award in the toy category. We have won the Good Housekeeping, the Toy Insider, and a bunch of Toy of the Year awards. So again, really gratifying to see that what we are doing is being recognized, not just by teachers, but also by the toy industry. Dash and Dot also are making friends at some big influential circles. So for the last 2 years, the robots have been invited over to the White House, and we get lots of footage of President Obama playing with the robots. I don't know how many of you watched the State of the Union this year, but one thing that President Obama said is that programming is now going to be much more of a mandate for the country. He's going to invest a lot in computer science education. So that's really good news for us. And I feel to an extent we and companies like us have managed to push the agenda forward. We're also starting to show up in pop culture. So I don't know if you guys watch The Big Bang Theory, but our robots show up periodically there. We're not quite sure why, but there are really no kids on that TV show, but a lot of the adults use the robots. It's been on a few other TV shows. I don't know if you have caught, there's a TV show starring Halle Berry, and our robots actually play a central role there. They're used by Halle Berry to spy on her husband. So not sure how that pans out, but it's good to see these robots being recognized in contemporary culture. And then this is the last slide, and this is sort of my favorite one. So when I was growing up, my first exposure to computer science was through BASIC. So as a 7-year-old, I learned how to program in BASIC. And as all of you know, that's a language and a company developed by Bill Gates. So it was really, really gratifying for us to see Bill and Melinda Gates recommend our product. So they brought the product, they played with it with their kids, and it's something I sort of tell to people almost as a joke that the guy who sort of taught us programming, his kids are learning programming through our product. So hopefully that tells us that we're doing something right. And yeah, that's it. Good, thank you.
Okay, so how many folks, I saw a lot of people on their phone. How many were ordering Dash and Da? Honestly, I was up there and I'm like, ooh, I think I want my own pair of robots. I would like to actually thank all of you. I would like to thank our innovators, and I'd like to give them another round of applause from San Mateo County. Every year seeing this, you see the future and you see what our company is all about and the kind of companies that are going to hire folks that live and work here, and I think we have a very, very exciting future. Obviously, we have challenges, and we will tackle them as we always do, which is together. So thank you again. Our future upcoming events, our annual meeting, which is always related to something regarding public policy. If I was to predict right now, it might be about housing, because it is definitely an issue in this county. And then our Birdies for Business that we do with the Redwood City San Mateo County Chamber of Commerce is coming up on Monday, September 26th. I actually want to thank my board of directors. I want to thank Amanda Borsum, because I can't do what I do at SAMCEDA without her. And I want to thank all of you. Thank you for your support of SAMCEDA and the work that we do. Thank you for what each and every one of you do for San Mateo County. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if I could ask our innovators to join me in the corner so we could have a picture. Thank you very much.